that I'm launching where I'm just reacting to literally any and everything random that you guys send me. As you guys can see down below, you can send topics this way to my Twitter or Instagram at SuttonDef, just like you see in the handle down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. We are simulcasting right now live to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. So shout out to the entire Rain gang who's coming out and supporting. But also make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Sutton Reactions, the actual channel where this show will be held exclusively pretty soon. Just starting it off simulcasting with PRP, just so we can get a little bit of traction going with the audience we already have over there with the Rain gang. So shout out to the Rain gang. Speaking of the Rain gang, we got K Beezy in the live chat already. Says Sutton, top of the AM, top of the morning to you as well, sir. Top of the morning. And yeah, as you guys get in here, make sure you sound off in the live chat. Let me know you're here. If you're part of the hashtag replay gang on this one, comment down below. Any comments, questions, concerns you got on this episode, anything that made you laugh, anything that piqued your interest, any topic ideas, you can actually also leave those down below in the comments. I do want to get to those as well. But most importantly, don't forget, send topics my way to @SuttonDef on Twitter or Instagram. Again, DMs open on both. Tila, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. One of our members here, Tila. Appreciate you for popping up, coming through. We got some things to cover on this episode, and it's gonna get a little bit more random, right? It's gonna get a little bit more random. Yesterday we focused on one topic, and that's kind of where I want to start, where we kind of left off yesterday. We were talking about what's going on, JD King Blaze. What's up, y'all? Yesterday we were talking about Netflix. We were talking about the acquisition of Warner Brothers from Netflix, and then how Paramount came back and countered their $72 billion deal with an $108.4 billion deal. We got into all of that. Then we started talking about how, if Netflix made theaters, and lo and behold, I mean, I guess just me talking about that brought it to my algorithm's attention. And it showed me some very interesting stuff, that I did not know about, that was already going on. So let's go ahead and let me transition scenes here, because I want to let you guys take a look at this Netflix house. Basically, Netflix already has a venue, like a place in Houston, which is where I live. So I'm definitely going to go check it out. But they have a place in Houston, Galleria, where it's basically like a Netflix themed like entertainment center. Let's check it out.
Today I'm at the Netflix house in the Galleria. Let's take a tour. And right upon entry, you're gonna see the iconic Wednesday hand and more beautiful murals along this red staircase. You feeling a little nervous?
Dude, I'm so scared, but I'm so excited.
And right upon entry, you are met with the food court.
Look at this already. This is super dope. People talk about all the time how like nowadays in in like entertainment centers and movie theaters, restaurants, just businesses in general are all starting to look the same, very bland, very gray, very monotone visually. But this, right off the bat, you can tell that Netflix is doing their big one with this, right? Sip to Tally Films, what's going on, Coach? Good morning. Good morning, Chris M. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Again, this is Sutton Reactions to any and everything. Again, yesterday we were talking about Netflix and how they should make movie theaters, and apparently they already have something close here. This is a Netflix-themed theater where, I don't know if it's actually a theater. Let's just keep watching. But they got all this Netflix-themed stuff in there.
You're gonna have a popcorn section with themed popcorn from each show. Netflix's own bar right here. You're gonna have the Netflix...
A full bar. A full bar in that motherfucker. And look at that pizza. A little bit burnt in some places, but that's kind of how I like my pizza. I'm not going to lie. This looks dope already.
Netflix bites right here in the back, where my favorite is Stranger Things. And here is the young savage Vecna himself. Immediately, you are met with many themed games and fun for you to have. I mean, this is out of control. And would you like to meet your match? Because you can play today.
I'm told there are jump scares.
Nothing happened. I got your foot. I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Don't you go next? We went into the Stranger Things experience and we were transferred into an entire...
Like, just imagine being a fan of one of these shows, right? Like Stranger Things or what's the other one? Squid Games and some of the other heavily themed, very niche Netflix originals that you can kind of recreate in this like entertainment center that they have. Playing the rest on mute here because you kind of can get the picture of what's going on. Yeah, like these themed rooms that you can go through. So imagine having this where it's like kind of like a Netflix museum, but doubles as a Netflix theater where you can watch all the latest and greatest Netflix originals that have the best actors, you know, best writing, best production, biggest budgets, and things like that. And they also have a full bar. And then, oh yeah, by the way, there's also a section. I don't know about in this, but I'm just kind of like conceptualizing. There also should be a section where you can watch live sports because Netflix has live sporting events. They should have separate theater rooms just for live sports. But this right here, where it's basically like a big ass Netflix museum, this is dope. And I think this is the future. And I can see why Netflix is trying to monopolize and take over the visual entertainment industry. Because if you can monopolize all of the biggest franchises, the biggest brands in television, and have them all underneath your roof, and have these sort of like museums where people can come through and kind of relive the experiences of the show, that's super dope. That is super dope. People would pay for that. Good money for that. So like I said, I am personally going to visit this place. It's not too far from my house. I'm going to visit this spot and I will report back. Trust me, I will. Let me see. KBZ says my daughter would love this. She watches Stranger Things all damn day. Yeah, I mean, that's fire. I love that. I love that. Go to Cosm in LA. KBZ says, where is it located? It's located in Houston Galleria, this location that we're looking at now. Cosm in LA. They have a Cosm in Dallas, Texas. That's super dope. I mean, if honestly, again, expanding off of this whole Netflix idea here, remember when I said that they should do the live sports as well? They should have a separate section in the building where they're doing the live sports, and it's kind of like the Cosm, right? Where it's like a big, dome on top of you, and it's like a full, like, kind of like almost a 180 view of whatever you're watching. It makes you literally feel like you're at the game. I love that. I love that. See some more comments in here. Let me see. Brandon, what's going on, Brandon? Shout out to you. Thanks for pulling up. They also have a Cosm. Yep, Cosm in Dallas. All right. But I just wanted to start with that really quick. You know, we talked about Netflix and movies and TV shows at length yesterday. So let's get into some stuff that's a little bit more, even more unserious than that, right? So I'm scrolling on Twitter this morning, and I see this video of a fight breaking out at a Waffle House. I'm not exactly sure where this Waffle House was, but this fight, I mean, and if you listen to what the people are saying during the fight, it makes it all the more funny. I do want to say I want better for my people, but this had me cracking up this morning.
Oh, you think that shit was sweet?
Look at these. Really? So the caption said, this man was getting jumped by Waffle House workers. What do you have to do? I know Waffle House workers aren't the most pleasant folks in the world, right? But what do you have to do to make them niggas that angry? Bro, look at bro leg. They really beat the dog shit out of this dude. Bro leg is just like fighting for his life. And then you heard what she said in the background, over hash browns, over potatoes is why this is going down here. And this is like broad daylight Waffle House. This isn't even like late night, 2 a.m. Everybody who walks in there is drunk or high or agitated or weird. This is like broad daylight Waffle House. I would love to know what part of the country this is in. But this is like broad day Waffle House that they're doing this over potatoes. Insane.
Get the fuck out! It's hash brown! Get the fuck out! Hash brown, boy! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out!
And look at bro. Wait, is that bro who was on the ground? Hold on, let me rewind. Did he get up?
Get the fuck out!
Okay, he gets up. But what is he doing? How you how you get stomped out like that? And then you get up flexing like you won the fight. What is going on here? This got to be AI. This got to be fake. This got to be fake, bro. Had to have interrupted a smoke break saying the hash browns weren't covered. Covered and smothered. Ashley, good morning. Yeah, bro, this is insane.
Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out!
Really flexing like he won though.
Hash browns! Yeah! I paid for it! Get the fuck out!
He said he paid for him. So did he already get his check and pay? Or I guess they're kicking him out of the restaurant. Does he have to pay before he leaves? Like, how do you get into this fight after paying the tab? You know what I'm saying? Like after you close out.
Get the fuck out! Then never come back in here!
Insane. Told him never to come back. It's just a rerun here on mute. Man, oh my gosh. I guess that's the manager he tried swinging on first, and then the rest of the workers. Somebody even bought in a chair. Oh, yeah, you don't mess with Waffle House workers, man. You do not mess with Waffle House workers, dog. These are people, you got to understand. You got to understand. Waffle House employees, since Waffle House is open 24/7, these are people who spend a good majority of their lives together, probably bonding over bullshit, you know, bumming cigarettes off of each other in the back on their breaks. You know what I mean? Like, some of these people may be down on their luck, just looking for an excuse. Just looking for an excuse. If I go to a Waffle House and I order waffles and they serve me pancakes, guess what I'm going to say? Not a damn thing. I don't want them problems with Waffle House workers, man, because they band together. Look at these niggas. Look at these, bro. They band together. They stick together. They are loyal to the soil when it comes to the house, the Waffle House. Hey, man, don't mess with them people, man. Don't mess with them people. I do want better for my people, though. Chris says that's a person that doesn't take losing. You can see it in his face. That's also true, too. And that's why I'm saying I want better, because a lot of these instances, you know, where violence is occurring and whatnot, a lot of times it's not over until it's over. When I say over, I mean like somebody's got to die, which is like the super unnecessary and unfortunate thing, but it is a reality in certain communities. But yeah, I mean, the way the dude got up, though, he definitely looked like he was gonna be coming back for more. He definitely looked like, all right, I'm about to go to the trunk real quick. I'll be right back, or I'm gonna spin the block later, something like that. You know what I mean? Now I feel like we would have heard about that story. This video came out a couple days ago. I feel like we would have heard about that if that's actually what had went down. So maybe he just wanted to to be tough for the camera. He saw people recording. He didn't want to get up and look, you know, scary or run away or whatever. He did get jumped, so it's like it's not really much he could do. You know, as somebody who's been jumped before, it's not fun. It's not fun, and there's really not a whole lot you can do. As a matter of fact, story time. Yes, I have been jumped before in college. It was a Saturday night. Me and my roommate, who lived in off-campus housing, we were going to go to a party and, you know, have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Talk to some girls, get some numbers, you know, the whole 9 yards. So we go out to this party that we hear about through the grapevine, and we walk there because, you know, college kids on a college campus, you're not really driving anywhere. Nobody got no money for no Uber, and Uber wasn't even really a big thing back then. So we walk to this party. And when we get to the party, it is absolutely packed. It's a house party. And it's packed. You can tell on the inside. By the way, it's packed on the outside, people trying to get in. Now, today, that would discourage me. I would have turned my ass around and went right back home. But 21, 22-year-old me, I was ready to go party. Me and my roommate. It had been a long week of classes. It was cold on our college campus. We just wanted to go out, have fun on a Saturday night. But we pull up to this party, and we're standing across the street from the house that the party is going on in. On that side of the street that we're on, we notice that there's a group of guys, 2 or 3 guys, standing there also looking across the street at the house party. And we asked them, like, hey, like, what's up with that party? Have y'all been in there yet? Like, is it cool? Whatever. Just trying to, strike up conversation, get a feel on how the party's going. And these guys look at us with like blank stares and basically tell us to just like get the fuck on. Like, just move around, like get away from us. Don't talk to us. And we're just like kind of standoffish for a second. Like, what you mean? You know what I mean? And what I didn't tell you guys yet is that my roommate was bipolar. So any little thing could trigger him and he'd be ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm trying to like de-escalate. I'm still in the mindset of like, okay, I'm trying to enjoy my Saturday night. I'm not really trying to go back and forth with these dudes who clearly aren't messing with us. But my roommate started barking at them. They started barking at us. The next thing I knew, a guy comes up behind my roommate and gets in his ear. I guess a guy that was with one of them. And it's like, yeah, like, what's up now? And my roommate just turned around and popped it off, right? Hits the dude behind him. And so I'm like, oh, shit. Now we fighting. Now I'm about to have to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't just leave him here to fight these 2 to 3 dudes alone. I got to help. So, I put my guard up. I'm ready to fight. There's actually 2 dudes in front of me. I'm like, all right, 2 dudes. That's not terrible, right? Like we can manage that. Might not win, but we can manage that. 2-on-1. 3 seconds later, I look up my right side of my peripherals. In that house party that's going on across the street, I see 6, 7 dudes come running out of the house party and towards us. So now, instead of it being 2-on-1 for me, it ended up being like 4-on-1. And so I'm handling the 2 dudes pretty well. You know what I'm saying? Like, one's got me grabbed by the shirt. I'm hitting the other dude. But then I see the other 4 dudes come out, and it was just over from there. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of swarmed me. And like, that was pretty much it. They didn't really get me too bad. I had a little busted lip the next day. I didn't have no black eye or nothing like that. But that was crazy. Cops came like maybe like 30 seconds later, and like everybody kind of like dispersed. But that was crazy. That was like the one time I've been jumped in my life. That was the one time. Ashley says I was a bookworm. Don't know anything about that in those days. Hey, I was a bookworm like my first semester of college, like really my first year. But then after that, I was like, you know what? People say college is supposed to have fun. So I started going to have fun and whatnot. Lo and behold, ended up getting jumped outside of a house party on a Saturday night. Had to watch my Ravens play the next day with a busted lip. Can't remember who we played that day, but I think we lost too. So it was just a bad weekend overall. It was a bad weekend. But yeah, I do want better for my community, the Black community. We got to do better. Can't have this stuff going on all the time. All right, let's move on. Enough of this fight talk. Let's talk about something I saw on Twitter earlier today. A little recipe that this guy had cooked up. He was making cheesesteak burgers, and the way he was doing it was very interesting. So I want to share with you guys. Let's take a look.
Cheesesteak burger. Inside, I'm an entire green bell pepper.
So look, right off the bat, he's got this ground beef inside of these bell peppers, and he's slicing it up. I kind of like where he's going. It looks weird, but I kind of like where he's going. Have you guys ever done like the like a stuffed bell pepper? Like a stuffed bell pepper, you know, you put ground beef, cheese in it, kind of like how he has right here. That's why I kind of like where he's going already, but let's keep watching. Matter of fact, let me turn down the volume on that a little bit.
We've got a unique way to create these burgers today. We're just going to fill our green bell peppers with our meatball mixture here. Slice it into 3 separate slices each.
See, I'm seeing the vision. I'm seeing the vision.
Green bell pepper, and then sear it on each side. Top it off with delicious sweet caramelized onions. Now grill your buns, and now top off with any sauce that you choose.
I love how, let me rewind really quick. Right about here. I love how the pepper is keeping the burger like shaped and in place. I feel like that's dope. You know, you put peppers on your burger, some of those peppers might end up falling off the burger. You know, so this kind of keeps it all in one, you know, it keeps it nice and tight.
Slice each green bell pepper, and then sear it on each side. Top it off with delicious sweet caramelized onions.
Yep.
Now grill your buns, and now top off with any sauce.
Hey, if you don't grill the buns when you're making burgers, you're not serious about making burgers. You got to grill the buns.
Sauce that you choose. Philly cheesesteak burger.
That's 10 out of 10 for me. That's 10 out of 10 for me. I'm not gonna lie. I like this. I like the look of that. I do. Let me see some comments here. Love stuffed peppers. JD said I saw no seasoning on that burger. I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I didn't see. Well, then again, he could have seasoned the meat before he put it in the bell pepper, you know. The seasoning probably wouldn't show up. Well, then again, no, he didn't. It don't look like no seasonings on that at all. You're right. Jeez. That beef ain't got no type of alternate coloring. He just fried them bad boys up or grilled them up. I mean, you're still going to get some good flavor because of the caramelized onions, the cheese, the sauce, the peppers, right? But you got to season it, though. You got to put something on it. Something. What's y'all favorite seasonings? What's y'all favorite seasonings? Drop that in the chat. Facts, where's the seasoning, says Kwame. Shout out to Kwame. Appreciate you for coming through. It's not done enough for me. Leave it there another 5 to 10 minutes. It's a few food places you don't mess with. Waffle House is one of them, for sure. For sure. For sure. No seasoning on that burger. That's my only gripe with it. I'm glad you pointed that out, KBZ or JD. I'm glad you pointed that out. But yeah, what's your favorite seasonings? Drop that down below in the comment section or in the live chat. I want to know. But yeah, you got to put something on that. Got to put something on that. But okay, let's move on here. Let's move on. Let's see. Enough about this cheesesteak talk. This was something, and it's in the title. Is there a problem with the current NBA? And I know I haven't really talked about sports at all on this show yet, and I don't really plan on doing too much sports talk unless it really, you know, matters, you know, to me. And this is something that I've been thinking about for a while. And Gilbert Arenas kind of makes a joke out of it here, and he doesn't really dig into the real point I want to make. But let's listen to what Gil has to say really quick. It's real short.
Do you think the coaches should have to wear suits? Are y'all fine with this look? I'm looking at it now, and y'all look like the nigga that's sitting right next to y'all. Like I like when your coach sweated out his suit. Like, you know, that nigga did some yelling that day. Now they look all comfortable. I don't want my coach being comfortable.
So that is Gilbert Arenas saying that he wants his coaches to go back to wearing suits. Go back to wearing suits instead of, you know, these quarter zips and these you know, team kits and stuff like that, like you see Eric Spoelstra wearing right there. And, you know, I think he's speaking to a larger point that the NBA has kind of gotten away from what made it compelling, what made it feel competitive, and the suits thing is a little bit more of a, you know, uh, doesn't really matter as much. What I really want to focus on though is the lack of American basketball players. The lack of American, like top American basketball players. It used to be, 20 years ago, the best basketball players in the world were all American. You know what I mean? Like LeBron, Kobe, Shaq. You know what I'm saying? Like who back in '05? I mean, like Allen Iverson was my favorite player. Like players like that. Those were the best players in the league. Nowadays, the best players in the league are all foreigners. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Canadian. Nikola Jokic, Serbian. Luka Doncic, Slovenian. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Greek. You know what I mean? Like all of these guys do not come from America. And so what I think that's done is it's kind of like watered down the competitive spirit of the game, because what it used to be is you would have these guys who would literally come from nothing, right? They would come from nothing, and they would end up making it to the league, and they were just hungry individuals. They were hungry. You could tell they wanted to fight for their spot, fight for glory. Whereas nowadays, I feel like these some of these foreign athletes, which again, no slight to them, they're awesome. I love watching some of them play, but I feel like they treat the NBA as more like a job than a passion. Back then, Bron, Kobe, AI, Jordan, they treated this shit like a passion. Like it was kill or be killed. Nowadays, it's just all like, I'm technically so much better than you, yet I don't really love the game of basketball. I don't think Nikola Jokic really loves the game of basketball. I don't think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander really loves the game of basketball. Not in the same way, not on the same level as these guys did back in the day. And it's led to, a lack of viewership. Apparently, I mean, if you ask the NBA, I think they said that the numbers were up, but I can't tell. I can't tell. In terms of like the buzz around basketball nowadays, it's just, it doesn't feel as important, right? I'm not running to my TV for Lakers Celtics because I want to see Magic and Bird, right? Or Kobe versus or whoever, or Paul Pierce and Ray Allen. All it just doesn't feel like there's any sort of like real rivalries anymore. No reason to really watch the game. I look at it like this. You guys remember a couple of years ago when Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark first kind of like exploded onto the mainstream scene, and people started talking about them. It was mainly because there was an emotional factor behind their rivalry that really compelled everybody to come in and watch. I mean, it wasn't all just because Angel Reese was a phenomenal player. It wasn't all just because Caitlin Clark was a phenomenal player on the court. It was about the rivalry, the emotional rivalry and disdain that they had for each other that made people want to tune in and watch, especially when they played against each other's teams. It's the reason why a lot of people nowadays really, really hold on to being fans of guys like Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is like a dying breed in the NBA. He's a fierce competitor, who will let you know that, hey, look, like it's me versus you, and I'm trying to work you, and I will outwork you. Like that type of like tenacity, you just don't see from a lot of the top players in the league today. And it's a star-driven league. The NBA is not like the NFL, where people are so, I guess you could say, just what's the word? It's a team sport in the National Football League, and people glorify teams. Just like, a lot of people who are watching right now glorify the Baltimore Ravens. I do. I have an affinity, a parasocial relationship to this Baltimore Ravens team. Regardless of who's on the roster, I will always love the Ravens. It's not like that in basketball. Basketball is all about the stars. You know, somebody could be a fan of one team one day because they have their favorite player on that team. And if that player decides to, you know, pick up and leave town to go to this team, now all of a sudden I'm rooting for that team because my favorite player is on that team. It's a player star driven league. Not to mention in basketball, there's only 5 guys on the court. Well, 10 guys on the court at a time. You know, the impact that one guy can have out of the 5 players on his team is huge. It's huge. So again, it's a player-driven, star-driven league in the NBA, and nowadays you really just don't have the stars who have that kind of like that drive. You know, Anthony Edwards is one of the last ones. Such a rarity, right? Anthony Edwards is such a rarity because he's another one of those guys who will get in your face, not afraid to let you know that he's coming for you, you know, and he's still going to go out there and put up 30 and maybe hit 4, 5, 6 threes in the process, you know. But not a lot of guys are like that. Not a lot of guys are like that. Kwame says they just want to be famous, Sutton. No love for the game. I don't even necessarily know if it's like want to be famous. I just think that a lot of them, I'm not going to say that they don't want to win titles. I do think that they want to win titles, but I don't think that they have any sort of emotional connection to the games. You know what I mean? I think that they have an emotional connection to, you know, ultimately like winning a championship, but there's no rivalries that get any of these guys out of bed. Like who is the rival for the Oklahoma City Thunder right now? Best team in the NBA right now, OKC. Who's their rival? Like, what matchups do you have to circle on their schedule? Like, oh, I have to tune in to see this. Not just because there's going to be talent from the OKC Thunder and maybe they're playing against the Nuggets with Jokic and whatnot. You know, you're going to see some good basketball, right? But it feels like it's all the same stuff. Like all the games go very, very similar. They're running like the same plays over and over and over again, you know, and it's not a naturally, it's not a contact sport. So there's no like, you know, sort of violence that you get from it that kind of goes into the entertainment factor. Like with the NFL, you can see a big hit or something like that, and you can that can really draw you in. That can be entertaining. In the NBA, you've got guys who are literally trying to foul bait so they can get to the line and get an advantage like that. But that creates horrible TV. Horrible TV. I think the main reason why people don't like watching guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's one of the best, if not the best player in the league, maybe second behind Jokic, is because he spends a lot of time at the foul line. And that, I know that's not the only part of his game. He's super good pretty much everywhere. But guys who get to the line a lot, like him, is bad TV. It's bad TV. There's a reason why the NFL moved back the extra point field goal to like 30 yards out. Because it was just like a given. I mean, these guys are shooting like 80, 90% from free throw. Nobody wants to watch that. And it happens way too frequently. Chris says, I still watch my Celtics. I'm a Sixers fan. Kwame says, I don't even watch until the playoffs. Same, man. Kwame says, how about all these American players that don't love the game anymore? Look at Zion, Hamburger, Williamson. And Zion, to me, was one of the last hopes. You know, I knew Zion wasn't like a big rah-rah guy, like, you know, get all up in your face and whatnot, but he reminded you of that older era of basketball. His play style reminded you of that older era of basketball where it wasn't so much just like finesse and precision like you see nowadays, but it was just brute force and power. You know what I mean? Like that was just compelling to watch. Like watching Zion Williamson kind of barrel his way down in the paint and go up and get a dunk or even a layup, and just guys just couldn't stop him. You got 7-footers who are just getting moved out of the way, bodies getting moved out of the way for Zion. But then, you know, he got hurt a couple times, lost a bunch of weight. Now he really doesn't look the same, and arguably he's not even the first option on his team now. Who is it? The Derek Queen kid or somebody else? I don't think it's him. I don't think it's Zion anymore. I don't think it's Zion. JD says, I heavily disagree. Let me know what you disagree with. Yeah, definitely not exciting at all. At all. They never had one even with KD and Westbrook on the team. Yeah. OKC never really had rivals like that. I mean, I guess they had the Warriors as a rival. You know, of course, they lost that conference championship game, and then after that, of course, we all know KD decided to join the Warriors, and then Russell Westbrook felt some type of way, and that kind of created a little spark between the KD-led Warriors with Steph and those boys, and Russell Westbrook, who kind of got left behind with OKC. But we don't really get stuff like that anymore. Derek Queen has been balling, and I'm mad the Wizards didn't draft him. Man, the Wizards are ass, man. Wizards suck. Chris says that was not a rivalry. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't really a rivalry. It was really just kind of like a little spat between Westbrook and KD. I don't think it lasts. I don't think that animosity lasted long at all. But you guys get what I'm saying. It was a beef, right? It was a beef. It was a beef, says Kwame. That's a perfect way to put it. The Hawk 3339 was going on, brother. One of our members in the house. Appreciate you for coming through, man. But yeah, that was what I wanted to talk about with the NBA. So again, guys, with this show, Sutton Reactions, I really want it to be a very open-ended show where I can react to anything. As you guys saw today, I reacted to a wide variety of things: Netflix theaters, Waffle House fights, food reviews. You know, we're talking about the NBA. I want to talk about a little bit of everything. So, whatever you would like to talk about, please leave it down below in the comment section, the chat section as well, the live chat. If you want me to answer some stuff right now, I'll take some questions from you guys. That's no problem. But I want you guys to do this for me. If you could, any videos that you find funny, any viral videos that you've seen that seem interesting to you, I want you to please DM them to me at SuttonDef on Twitter or on Instagram. I'd appreciate that. Thank you to everybody who's done it so far, but I need more. I need more. One more thing I wanted to show you guys here. Hold on. Let's transition here. Because I know that Tila, I don't know if Tila's still in the chat right now, but Tila had mentioned something yesterday about scary movies. And there was something that piqued my interest that I saw. So let me go back in my Sutton Reactions folder here. There's a movie apparently that got teased. Look at this. First look at a movie called Buddy. Excuse me, which is a new horror movie starring Kristen Milioti, Topher Grace, and Michael Shannon. The film follows a girl and her friends who must escape a demented kids TV show. This looks interesting and scary as hell. I mean, because just look at this guy. You know what this reminds me of? This is like the It series, like we were talking about yesterday, the Dairy, Welcome to Dairy. Somebody was telling me to watch that. It's like that kind of mixed with what I always assumed Teletubbies would be. You guys know Teletubbies, right? The kids show from the 90s, early 2000s, where there were these big, like alien looking things, and apparently they like the costumes were like 7 feet tall, and they looked very eerie and ominous. Like back in the day, as kids, they look super friendly and whatnot, but like nowadays, you look back on it, they look super, super ominous and very eerie. And that's kind of what this character is giving right here. And the concept of a film where, you know, you and your friends are trapped in some sort of weird forest or imaginary land with nothing around but like an axe murdering children's character who's clearly off its rocker. That's scary as hell. I can only imagine some of the gore scenes that would come from this. I can only imagine. Love Tinky Winky and Lala. Oh, you know all the names. Yeah, no, this is this is crazy. This was great instead of being pissed about our Ravens. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's why I'm doing it, man. I got to switch it up. I'll go crazy. I'll drive myself crazy if I talk about the Ravens every single time I get on live. I would. But of course, me and Alex will be live later today doing our week. What is it? Week 16 now? Week 16, I think. 15 or 16, one of the two. Preview shows, previewing our Bengals matchup. Kwame says, Sutton, what do you think about the Michigan coach who was fired? What was he fired? What was he fired for again? I read it this morning. Let me see. Actually, as a matter of fact, let me type it in here. But yeah, definitely going to check out that movie, though. Definitely going to check out that movie. Michigan coach. What was the reason he was fired again? Overstaff. Oh, right. So he had a relationship with a staff member. That's crazy. University of Michigan athletic director terminated head football coach Sharon Moore, effective immediately, citing an investigation that found evidence of an inappropriate relationship with a staff member violating his contract. Hours after the announcement, police detained Moore as a suspect in an alleged assault, booking him into the county jail before releasing him into protective custody. No charges have been filed. Moore, who took over in January 2024 after Jim Harbaugh's departure and posted a 16-8 record, including 9-3 this season, leaves the program facing a bowl game against Texas and transfer portal challenges without a swift replacement. So, wait, is this the girl?
Sharon Moore, the new head.
Is that the woman? Interesting. Maybe that is the woman he was having relations with. My thoughts on this: I don't agree with the assault. Nor do I have all the details on the assault. And I understand that it was a violation of his contract. But I really don't see anything wrong with like meeting a love interest at work. I know the saying that, you don't what do the people say? They say you don't shit where you sleep or something like that. Or shit where you eat, something like that. But I mean, love is love. And love is going to win. Again, I don't know anything about the assaults or anything like that. I know nothing about that. So if he is, obviously he got detained, so obviously something had to have happened. But if this just started as like just a genuine relationship, like they hit it off, they just happen to be working on the same staff, like that happens all the time, guys. That happens all the time. But and I get how that can be a fireable offense since it was in his contract. But police are now detaining him, so this is like a much more serious thing because there's an assault probe apparently. Let me see. Don't shit where you eat. Yeah, thanks, guys. Never sell where you lay at. Yeah, it can get messy. Guys. But I mean, it's still, I'm on the side of like, it's one of those things where like, if it happens, it happens. Like, I don't think that there's necessarily a right place and time to find love. It's supposed to be like a very genuine thing by chance. Like, you can meet the love of your life in the grocery store, just like you could meet the love of your life at work. You can meet them after the movie theater. The movie lets out and you strike up a conversation with somebody. You hit it up anywhere. Is my point. You can meet them at school. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, like, if you guys hold the same kind of standard for meeting like your partner in like high school crushes, high school sweethearts, because there you're supposed to be working. You're supposed to be focused on this common goal to graduate or get good grades or whatever. Some people meet their love interests in college. I get a job might be a little bit of a different thing, but again, man, it just, if it happens, it happens. Now, again, I don't know all the context. On what he did. This whole assault thing, I'm kind of staying away from that. But just talking about the violation of contract that Michigan gave him, saying like, hey, look, like you can never. And I also don't know how old this woman is. And I don't even know if this woman is the one who we're talking about, the one in question, this woman right here. I don't even know if like she's actually the one in question. But yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Met the love of my life at his job, not mine. See? I mean, it happens. It happens. Kwame says, nah, Sutton, this in your contract, though. Would you give up millions for that? Oh, man. This is a tough one, dog. It's a tough question. It's a tough question because, like, it's basically what you're asking me is, and I don't know how he truly felt about this woman. But if he truly loved this woman and like did not want to, go on life without her, and I guess kind of take it away from this situation because again, we don't know about the whole assault thing, but this type of thing happens all the time. Somebody's offered a bunch of money to be in a position, right? And in that contract for that position, it might say like, yeah, you're not allowed to develop relationships, whatever. But the heart really can't help what it wants. I don't think you can put a dollar amount on love. Like you can't quantify it like that. Like, at least that's just what I feel. That's what I believe. Would I give up $1 million for it? It's like no, but like if I'm feeling a certain type of way about this woman, and if I like knowing if I'm with her, it will violate my contract and I would lose my job. The heart works how the heart works, man. The heart wants what the heart wants. It's one of those things. It's a tricky situation. It's a tricky situation. It's a good conversation though. I like this question. But there's just certain things that I feel like, man or woman, like if you really are drawn to somebody, a job doesn't really stop that from, because again, we see it too much. We see it way too often. Way too often. Kwame said he's married with 3 kids. Oh, see, now that changes things. I mean, like, he's totally in the wrong here. Cheating on your wife, check, right? Cheating on your children, which is a thing. I think it's 2 totally different types of hurt, right? Obviously, the woman or the wife is going to be massively distraught, but what that does to the children as well when they find out, that's a double whammy. They're not one and the same. He's got 3 kids. Not sure he was thinking with his heart, thinking with his head. Yeah, definitely the other head. Obviously, this seems like more of like, and it kind of comes together now with the whole assault thing. This seems like it was more lust than love. And I guess that's where I differ here. If it's like, if this man was single, right, and he just got found out about that he was going on dates with this woman, courting her, wine and dining her, all that stuff, and they said, oh, this is an inappropriate relationship. You guys are clearly engaging in romantic activities. You're fired. I would shoot him some bail then. Because even though it was in his contract that, hey, like, you're not allowed to have relationship with anybody on the staff, if it's a genuine relationship and you're not like violating like the bounds of your marriage, then I can't be mad at him. Yeah, he would have broken a rule and maybe lost his job, sure, but I still wouldn't be mad at him. But in this case, I am mad at him because you cheated on your wife and you betrayed those children and you assaulted this woman, your mistress. So yeah, get him the fuck out of here. Get him up out of here for sure. See what you guys talking about. And her these married folks be the most single ones. Ugh, that's nasty, isn't it? That's nasty. Married folks being the most single ones. A lot of people aren't satisfied with their marriages. You guys want to talk about that? I mean, I know it's a broad topic, but do you guys believe people just grow apart naturally, or do you think that? Well, yeah, of course people grow apart. I feel like some people grow apart, but they also have the mental maturity to know that, hey, like we have X amount of years in this, we've got children, whatever. So we may have our differences now. We may not be the same people that we were when we met, but the fact of the matter is we made a commitment, and that trumps all. That trumps our immediate feelings, our immediate, you know, wants that we want satisfied. I guess it's just like it's a selfish versus selfless thing. Because I feel like when you get married, and I'm not married yet, but when you get married, you do have to kind of give up a piece of yourself in a way in order to always honor the commitment. Because you're all, I mean, you're gonna have different interests than your spouse. You're gonna have, you're probably gonna find other people attractive other than your spouse. I mean, that's just natural. Everybody has eyes. Everybody has, you know, is attracted to something, you know. But if you give into some of those desires, you're selfish. As long as the other person is treating you right, if you still give into those desires, that's a selfish thing to me. You know, I think marriage requires you to be truly selfless and sacrifice, compromise, compartmentalize. That's a huge thing, especially for men. I can't really speak for women, but like compartmentalizing for a man is probably one of the best skills you can have if you want to date, if you want to be married, if you just want to have relationships with just people in general, friendships. You got to be able to compartmentalize and be able to take things, put them in certain boxes. Like, okay, I know that I just had this feeling about this, but I know I don't need it to escalate to this level. So I'm gonna put this feeling in this box right now. I'll revisit it later, whatever. But you have to be aware. You got to be very self-aware, and I feel like not a lot of people are. Let me see. Kwame says it's an age-old problem, Sutton. I don't know if there's a solution. Yeah, it's definitely a big problem. But it also leads to the question. Some people say, like, are humans meant to be monogamous? Like, are we naturally like meant to be with one single person for life? I guess doing that, because it's hard. Marriage is hard. Marriage is work. I guess in doing that is what kind of teaches you about yourself, whether or not you are a selfish or a selfless person. Interesting. Interesting stuff. I like these conversations, guys. I like these conversations. Chris M says heavy on the not married yet because your lady would make you remove this video expeditiously. She would. She would. So the yet is in there. The yet is definitely in there, just in case my baby's watching. Um, let me see. What else we got in here? No one escapes accountability. A lot of people get married for the wrong reasons too. Special day versus true partnership, etc. Says Asmodeus. What's up, Asmodeus? Yeah, I see that as well. You know, I feel like, and I'll just talk about, like, I guess you could say like the younger generation. So the 20 somethings to like 20 to 40, I would say. So like prime Gen Z and millennial. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to be married, and have that person and have that special day because everybody wants to kind of like market it and, put it on the internet. And a lot of the times it ends up being more for the people that you're trying to impress as opposed to yourself. And I feel like a lot of people get lost in that, you know, and I don't know exactly what the number is of how many marriages lead to divorce. I think it's like 40%, 40 something percent or something like that. I think it's gone down in the past couple of years, in the past decade, I think, which is good, you know. But I feel like a lot of people do probably rush into marriage, want to do it for the wrong reasons, and they don't really know the person truly who they're marrying, who they're committing their life to. It's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing, bro. Definitely a thing. Seems like relationships are so transactional now. That depends on, I feel like all relationships are transactional. Every single one. You know, um the only relationships I feel like aren't transactional, which is why these relationships tend to be the most beautiful ones, is the ones with your kids, especially like your newborns, when they can literally do nothing for you and you have to do everything for them. So they end up feeling like an extension of yourself. That's what true love is right there. If you want to know what true love is, take a woman who just had a baby, watch how much she loves on that baby. It's not the truth in every case, because we've seen some terrible moms before, but by and large, you want to see true love, that's where you'll find it right there. A mom looking after her newborn baby. That's the only relationship that isn't transactional. And even still, then in a way, it is kind of transactional, because like the baby makes the mother feel really good. And in return, even though it's not even in return because you have to do this, you take care of the baby, you nourish the baby. So it's not so transactional, but you still do get something out of it as a parent, you know. But Zeke, what's going on, man? What's going on, Zeke? Kwame says people be doing it for the gram. Seems like relationships are transactional. Yeah, dog. But I'm here to say this, though. Don't pay attention to everything you see on the internet, because the internet is still not real life. People are chasing an idea, I feel like, of what their ideal life is, based on people only showing their wins and putting their best foot forward on social media, based on things like reality TV and the things that we just naturally glamorize in media. You know, you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like it's literally the 1%, the stuff that you see on social media where people are just doing it for the gram and stuff like that. That's the 1% of these people's lives. The other 99% looks a lot like the average Joe or the average Jane, but they're not posting that. And the issue is, when you constantly scroll your timelines, you're on Facebook, Instagram, and you see all your peers, like you said, doing it for the gram, right? So and so just got married and is going on a crazy um uh, uh honeymoon after their wedding, or this person just bought a house and it seems like they're doing so well, and this person posted how their business did this month, and it's like you might sit there and try to like compare yourself, but like that's where it gets dangerous, right? And then you start kind of subconsciously doing it for the gram yourself. Well, hey, I had a win here, let me post this. But it's like, you don't want to do it for the gram. You want to do it. You want to do things for yourself at the end of the day. Do it because it makes you happy. Let me see. That's the one. People don't show their real lives online. No, they do not. No, they do not. But I still think there's societal pressure on the issue. What do you mean by that, Ashley? Got a super chat donation. This one's coming from Asmodeus. Appreciate you dropping the 10 piece in the chat, Asmodeus. Asmodeus says, story time. During COVID, I met girls using Discord on Pokemon Go. It turns out for both, the women were married. When I found their actual socials, I later learned it's a taboo fetish to cheat. That's the thing. That's the thing. Some people have an affixation with danger and risk taking, and for a lot of people, and I feel like this happens to well, it happens to men and women. I've seen it on both sides, but sometimes people can feel so locked into their mundane day to day of their relationship or their marriage or something like that. And something like what you're saying here, getting online, meeting strangers, and like kind of hitting it off and talking spicy with them or whatever, and that feels dangerous and exciting to them. You know, some people are just bored. Some people are just bored, right? Or some people may be in a controlling relationship or a marriage where this is like their outlet to feel like they actually have some power that they can take back for themselves. So it's that's an interesting story though. Met girls using Discord on Pokemon Go. Turns out for both the women were married when you found out their actual socials. It's a taboo fetish to cheat. Interesting. Interesting. I could totally see it. That's interesting. Appreciate your super chat donation, Asmodeus, as always, making it rain here on Sutton Reactions. Appreciate y'all. Let me see. Asmodeus is also one of our members too. Shout out to him for that. What else you guys saying here? Ashley says, another one of our members, says it's always going to be there, but can't pay too much attention to society's timeline. People have their own timeline and move at the rate that's best for them. Some do, some don't. Some people are overly invested into society's timeline that was made for them. You know, like you gotta hit these milestones by these certain ages. If you don't, you're a failure, which is a lie. One of the biggest lies that modern internet will serve up on a hot steaming platter is that, hey, look, you're behind in life. Because look at somebody else who's in your age group who just accomplished this thing. You know, it's one of those things where you can't compare yourself. Everybody goes at their own rate. Everybody goes at their own rate. Let me go over here. There we go. There we go. Since we're not talking about the Michigan man, talking about the timeline for marriage and children. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, there's been times where, I mean, I told you guys yesterday, I'll be 30 in about a week. And there was a time where I was in a wedding for one of my best friends from college, and they got married like super young, like what, 22, 23, something like that, which is young by today's standards, not by, you know, a couple decades ago. But I remember in the time, like feeling like, dang, like I feel like I'm nowhere close to marriage, you know, and this was like years and years ago at this point. But I started to compare myself, and I had to catch myself, and I had to think like, you know, I'm not going to live life at the same rate as everybody else around me. And just because I'm not doesn't mean that I'm a failure. And I kind of related it to, you know, cause I look at it like this: when you're a kid and you're growing up through school, you know, and like everybody's kind of like on the same playing field. So think about like when you were in grade school, like elementary school, middle school, high school, everybody progressed, unless you were held back a grade, but everybody progressed at the same rate, at the same pace. Everybody was accomplishing the same things at the same time. You graduated at the same time with the same people that you've been around for so many years. And then college comes around, and largely the same thing is happening. Some people graduate before others. But then after that, you're kind of like in this world where, okay, it's like there's no more structure to life. And it's like, hey, go off and go accomplish all the other stuff on your own. You're not going to be side by side, shoulder to shoulder with your peers in terms of what you're accomplishing forever. And I feel like that messes a lot of people up, because you have some people who get married, have kids early. You have some people who want to get married and have kids early, but they struggle with it for whatever reason. You have some people who become really successful really early into adult life, and some people who maybe take some time to bloom. But if you're one of those people who, you know, feel like you were ever behind in life, I promise you, you're not. Promise you, you're right where you need to be. Right where you need to be. people making their own problems. Void's talking about, I guess, what I was talking about, what you know, in response to Asmodeus's comment. People make their own problems, like boredom theory. Your life is good, right? It may not be the most sexy, exciting life. It might not be the lifestyle that you see on Instagram, but your life is good. But is good enough? Is the question. That's the question here. Is good enough? A lot of people, for them, the answer is no. They need something extra to make them feel fulfilled, to make them feel alive. Let me see. Moggs says most relationships and marriages are based off of availability / access to sex and or proving to society that you are acceptable / dateable. I'd have to have you elaborate on that just a little bit more. It's a little bit more, Moggs. Based off of availability and access to sex and proving to society that you are acceptable. Interesting. Asmodeus says that pressure comes from my mom, but that's a totally different situation. Ace. Sorry, guys. Dog's barking early today. Somebody's outside. Please hold. Please hold. Now, what I will say is that this type of pressure coming from a parent, it does feel different. It does kind of like, because again, I mean, this is the person who largely a lot of us model our lives after our parents. You know, so if they're the ones who are telling you like, hey, you should probably be here by now, or pressuring you to do this, that, and the third, it's not a healthy thing. I understand it, I guess, from a parental perspective. You want to guide your children, put them on the best path, right? But it is unfair. It's very unfair. Very unfair, because everybody has their own story and everybody goes at their own pace, like we said. Chris says 30, a baby. I suppose so. Tila, sharing with us here, says 40 and unmarried and not sure if I have the desire to be. If it happens, it happens. Yeah, I mean, it's not one of those things where like you're any lesser than, or you can feel any less fulfilled if it doesn't happen, you know? I tend to think about it like this. As long as you have relationships in your life with people who have love for you, like genuine love for you, maybe not, I mean, it doesn't have to be romantic love, but just love in general. Like that's what's most important. That's what's paramount, as opposed to, you know, searching for the romantic, because a lot of those relationships can be contrived. A lot of people force romantic relationships just for the sake of being in a romantic relationship or being married or whatever, what have you. You know, and that kind of goes back, Tila, to what I was saying earlier, and you're gonna disagree with me on this, Tila, but that's why I said, like, if you meet somebody at a job, and I know you guys are gonna say, don't eat where you shit, or vice versa, and it's a genuine connection, it's like one of those, if it happens, it happens sort of things, right? And like, if you feel a certain way, it's like, who are you to, like, you know, now it may get in the way of your money and stuff like that in the job, which is like another thing. You kind of have to come to grips with that yourself on which one you would prioritize. But I don't know. I just feel like human connection is a very strong thing, and it doesn't always have to come from romantic partners. You know, I've got friends who, when I hang out with them, I literally shut my brain off, turn off the world, and just enjoy myself. You know, I can do that with my lady too. But like your platonic relationships in your life, platonic relationships should be looked at as way more important than they are to me. People don't value platonic relationships anymore. They can be just as strong as romantic relationships. Zeke says, Sutton, I'm going through that right now. I feel like I'm way behind. Zeke, you're right where you need to be. You're right where you need to be. You guys know how I always say, you know, stay positive, test negative, never, ever, ever forget to call God, even on the rainiest of days. We mean that. We mean that. And I don't mean to get all, you know, preachy and whatnot, but keep calling God. He's going to make sure you're right where you need to be every single time, Zeke. Every single time. Love all you guys, man. Appreciate y'all for coming through. We see Asmodeus also says, I agree with your timeline comments. I graduated with my bachelor's when I was 25. Even then, I'm generally happy with my life. Biggest challenge is aging parents. That can be tough. That can be tough, Asmodeus, for sure. Aging parents is it's a doozy. It's a doozy. Mog says, women wise, I guess he's explaining his comment from earlier. Women wise, they like to social media post relationship photos and rings more than stand on what the relationship is supposed to be about through and through. I mean, people are trying to impress each other on social media. Again, that's why, like, you know, there's a reason, there's this thing called like I seen it somewhere, maybe on Reddit or TikTok or something like that, like ring wars, where like women will do this thing where like when they get proposed to, you know, the ring is like, oh, prepare to be sick of me, my ring every day, my husband this, my husband. And it's like it almost gives off this like we get it, like happy to be married. Of course, you should be happy to be getting married and stuff like that. But it also gives off like this like fake, almost like, look at what I have and what you don't have. You know what I mean? Like my partner is better than your partner. Like we're all competing each other in this very nasty, you know, battlegrounds that is social media, like social battleground that is social media in the internet. Everybody's fighting for who can get the most likes. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to get the perfect picture of this vacation and, you know, just to make it seem like they're living a better life than they are and trying to keep up with the Joneses and compete with everybody else. Like imagine if we didn't have the internet. Like where would you post? Like where would you brag about the things that you do in life? You know, I mean, to your friends and family. And that's about it. But like now everybody has a platform where you can show the world how good your life is. And when you're constantly watching other people showcase how good their life is, it does make you feel like you're behind. It does. Let me see what else we got in here. Sutton says, yes, sir. Sutton, I need to hear that. Thank you, bro. Of course, brother. Of course, brother. I got you. My lady just walked in. Won't elope either. I refuse to do a shotgun wedding if I get married. Call me old fashioned. That's interesting, Asmodeus. Won't elope. Refuse to do a shotgun wedding if I get married. Call me old fashioned. I mean, I get it. You want to do it the traditional way, you know, wedding, all that good stuff. I like this. We'll end it here. Marry God, commit to your financial stability and parental abilities, and place others last. Please others last. One of those. But I like this message. I like this message right here from Moggs. Right? That's what you need to do. Everything else will follow suit. Everything else will follow suit. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the episode here, about an hour and 15 in. This is episode 3 of Sutton Reactions. Had a really good time today with you guys. So make sure, again, you send topics to SuttonDef at X, on Instagram at SuttonDef. I will be reacting to anything that you guys send me. So again, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Like I always say, stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. We'll see you guys later on PRP Live. Peace.